and welcome to My First Dungeon. Hello and welcome to My First Dungeon. Hello and welcome to another season of My First Dungeon. Hello and welcome to My First Dungeon, the tabletop role-playing podcast that helps game masters learn new games and make each one better than the last. And that is the last time you're going to hear me say that in the year 2023, because today is the last day of 2023, so we thought it was fitting to look back on this past year and reflect on all the things we put out into the world and look forward to all the things we have planned for 2024. I'm Brian Flaherty, and I am joined by the three other members of Many-Sided Media. They are Elliot Davis.
Hello!
Chinook Tessera.
Hi!
And Abby Hepworth.
Ha!
How's everyone doing?
Oh God, Abby! Somebody
ate Abby. She's
I'm
gone.
thriving,
I'm
despite
fucking
popular belief.
thriving.
We just finished
I'm
recording a Patreon game, so we're a little punch drunk.
We're a little loopy.
Who's
Ooh,
punch
it
drunk?
It got silly.
It did get silly.
So before we dive into talking about what we loved about 2023 on this show, what we were most proud of, I think it's good to look at 2023 for Many-Sided Media, for My First Dungeon, by the numbers. So I did the math on all this, and actually a lot of these were surprising to me. Sometimes when you're in the middle of something, you don't realize how much you've done, and you sit back at the end of the year and you're like, holy shit, we did a lot. This year, between My First Dungeon and Talk of the Table.
Wait. Before you say it, I'm looking at the outline, but can you make Abby and Chinook play Price is Right guessing game?
Ooh, Chinook, have you seen the outline yet?
No.
Oh, perfect.
So is it just Chinook? Abby, you saw
Oh,
it?
because I think Abby,
Oh,
you might
you
have seen
talked
it.
through a lot of the numbers with me
through it.
earlier.
Okay, actually,
All right.
Chinook, perfect.
Oh man.
So by the numbers, in 2023, between My First Dungeon and Talk of the Table, between our main feed and our Patreon feed, how many episodes do you think we put out?
67.
We put out 80 episodes
Wahoo!
between talkbacks, actual plays.
Pretty good guess.
Pretty good guess. Between My First Dungeon and Talk of the Table, we played 13 games, 8 on our main feed,
Whoa.
5 over on our Patreon. Shnook, do you want to guess how many total minutes Many-Sided Media put out into the world of podcasts?
Or I feel like an easier way would be how many days worth of content. It totals up to a number of days.
It's we put out days worth of minutes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Put out days worth of minutes.
We put out days worth of minutes.
3 days worth of minutes.
We put out 3.98 days worth of podcasts, which is 5,737
Which is a gentleman's 4.
minutes.
We put out a
Gentleman's
gentleman's
four.
4.
A gentleman's four.
A gentleman's 4 days of podcast. That is a very long week. So if you've listened to every single second of My First Dungeon, just from 2023, you spent a lover's weekend with us.
Oh, a lover's weekend.
Ooh.
That's pretty.
I feel like when you combine the Patreon game we just played and this, yeah, that's 4. It's 4 days.
4 days. We put out 3,654 minutes on our main feed, 1,545 minutes on our Patreon. So if you've not subscribed to our Patreon, there's a whole lot more to love.
Mm-hmm.
And we put out 538 minutes
subscribe.
on Talk of the Table.
Woo!
Tables.
Our newsletter, we released 33 issues of the 20-sided newsletter to 732 newsletter subscribers,
Yay.
Which exceeded our goal for the end of the year, which was 700.
which well exceeded our goal.
well exceeded.
And over this season, I said we played 13 games. Shuk, do you want to guess how many players we had on My First Dungeon this year, including the 4 of us?
30.
We had Brian, Elliot, Abby Chinook, Kevin Bauer, Julia Schroeder, Nathan Yaffe, Draconics, Carolyn Page, Katie Maravich, Emma Fife, Persephone Valentine, Connie Chong, Dr. Emily Friedman, Lynn Kodega, Jay Stroutman, Michelle Chan Bennett, Noah Gebstad, Cassie Wilson, and Jasmine Malave for a total of 20 players on My First Dungeon.
Oh man, I went over.
So that's a lot of stuff. We played Schrodinger's Cats, we played Anamnesis, Die, Good Society, Project Echo, Yuzeva's Bed and Breakfast, Orbital Blues, Hometown Holidays, and that's just on our main channel. Over on Patreon, we played Scurry, Icarus, Yuzeva's Bed and Breakfast, Magic, a game that we came up with and no one should ever play.
Magic.
Something is wrong with the turkeys, and we just finished recording it, the Great Soul Train Robbery.
Yeah, baby.
Woo. So my question for all of you is, out of all that, out of 80 episodes, out of 16 other people we played with, 5,737 minutes, my first question to all of you is, what was your favorite moment from 2023?
Oh, Lord.
Good Lord.
I have one.
What do you
for
got?
Sure. This was in Die, I believe, was when we were talking about Ned's grandma. And we all, or Chinook, I believe it was you, started to be like, we like Weekend at Bernie, Ned's grandma. And so it wasn't just that moment, though. It was Drac fully losing it and being like, who are you people? What is this move? What is happening? That was so funny and such a delight to see, like, genuine shock and laughter and just so unhinged. And the whole start to finish, the whole thing was so hilarious.
I think that was when Drac fully understood the type of players we all are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
was
when we
like,
signed
"Log
Drac
in."
on as a comeback every
Yeah.
time
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
player.
You gotta come back. That was so funny. That move itself. I feel like I was like not in my body when I did that. And I did it and I was like, oh my God. I didn't even realize how awful like doing that to someone when I said it. And then all of you were like, Chinook, what the fuck?
Elliot or Chinook, you guys got a favorite moment from 2023 from My First Dungeon?
From My First Dungeon specifically?
Or really anything we put out. Could be from the newsletter, could be from My First Dungeon, could be something that happened on the Discord, could be from Talk of the Table.
I think one of my favorite moments was probably when I've been playing with you guys for a while, and I've been playing with Brian for, I think, the start of my TTRPG playing career. And he's always wanted to kill someone. And I think the moment when he thought he had it, when he thought he killed Ward,
Oh, yeah.
and he was so smug, he was so satisfied, and then Elliot just pulled the rug out from under him.
Yeah.
I got so far into that narration.
Oh, yeah.
And then even worse, in the next episode, you guys did it again. I thought I was going to be able to kill either you or Eli. And then you guys both saved it somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, get fucked.
Yeah, get fucked.
It's not that I want to kill someone. I feel like I this is a...
Oh, no, but you've got a good player death narration in you. I mean, clearly.
Yeah.
I've got
yeah.
it in me. It wants to come out. And it needs to come out. I've got to get past that hump.
Oh man, there's so many good ones. I'm gonna go away from gameplay, I think.
Mm.
I think one of my favorite moments was there was a moment, it's hard to pinpoint an exact moment, but there was a moment, Brian, where we were recording with Jay for Talk of the Table, where I was like, oh, we have a show. Like Talk of the Table, like the first few episodes were really solid. But then there was a moment specifically talking to Jay where I was like, oh, no. This is a show that should exist and is worth existing.
Mm-hmm.
Like worth existing. And I felt that way after the first episode, but there was a moment where like we were just really vibing with Jay in that recording. And I was like, yeah. This we need to keep making this. I like this.
It's just
show.
like hit harder. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really helps when you're talking to Jay.
Right.
Yeah.
When your subject is Jay Stroutman, it's like, yeah, this conversation is going to go great.
Yeah. Shout out Jay Stroutman.
Shout out Jay Stroutman and Planet Arcana.
Woo! What about you, Brian?
And you know what? I got to be honest. This very selfish.
Hit it.
Really liked winning best sound design.
Oh, yeah.
Damn right.
Yeah, that's a good
Damn
one.
right.
That
earned the
was
shit out of that.
That's a real good one. I forgot
Absolutely.
that happened this year. That's
You,
crazy.
you take that all the way to the bank. Don't hedge that at all.
That's
take it all the way to
awesome.
the bank. And then I think if there's a play moment, I think, man, there's a lot of moments. I loved us coming up with the term "eat your broccoli" or "eat your vegetables" dungeon master to describe my play style. I think the most gratifying thing after playing with you guys for so long was at the end of the Uzeba season getting to hoist Chinook by his own petard. By when you set up, oh yeah, Hey Kid's gonna be a rapper, and I made you rap at the end.
God,
Yeah.
yeah, the whole Uzeba season was awesome.
Yeah, Yuzeba's was great.
Yeah.
Uzebas was very fun.
Very good season.
Those were probably some of my favorite talkbacks, I think, were Yuzeba's. I can't pinpoint a specific one, but I feel like the talkbacks with Yuzeba's were always like everybody just reveling in how good a time they just had.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is one of those ones that's just easy to ping pong off of because it's so like joyful and playful. You kind of come out of it, you're like,
Yeah.
let's keep talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like adult play.
Oh, can I shout a not recorded moment out? I know we're supposed to have one moment. I'm just
Yeah, shout it out.
Yeah,
Shout
do
it
it.
out.
Do it. Shout it out.
First fan art was this year
First
Oh,
fan art. Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. That's true.
Oh,
from Low Tonks on Twitter.
just
Mhm.
absolutely
Hanging in Brian's
nailed it.
apartment. Brian and
Yeah.
Annie's apartment.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys got me a copy. It's
Mhm.
hanging
Yeah.
very proudly in my apartment. I'm very happy about it.
Very cute.
Fucking rules.
PAX was also cool.
PAX Unplugged was very cool. The first convention we got to all go to together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In our matching t-shirts.
Matching
Our
t-shirts.
matching t-shirts
made
because we launched our first
merch.
merch.
merch. Buy our merch.
Merch.
I think actually now's a really good time to do a quick shout out to some of our Discord members who we asked anyone if they had questions for us at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And I think kind of on this note from Polter Zeitgeist, which is still my favorite
Oh my God, that's so good.
username
Great-
on our
great
Discord.
name.
What's your favorite lesson or experience from an earlier game this year you believe made
Ooh.
a later game better?
Ooh.
Oh,
So any like lesson
Ooh.
you got from early in the year that made something better later on?
that is a great question.
I think for me, Die is what like kind of like taught me so much about my own play style. Like I think I was always a little monster before, but I think I was maybe more hesitant. Where Die, I was just like, let the guns loose.
Die, you made big swings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that was like the first moment of like I really learned like, oh, just like make swings and let everyone else take care of it. And I think every season afterwards, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna say something and we'll see if it's really that bad. We'll cut it out, and it's never been that bad.
I do
Well.
think
Elliot.
I do think
Sorry, we can cut that.
It's staying in.
I do think Die, you made big swings, but it was I feel like we all were like on board with it too. Like you made big swings, we were all like, yeah, of course. And so then you saw that and were like, oh great, I can just keep doing that. like the
Yeah,
second
I
you
was
saw it
totally-
rewarded, you were like, great, no notes. I'll keep
We're
hitting
gonna
those
keep doing
balls.
Similarly to that, seeing there were multiple moments, I think, throughout the year where you guys and other people we were playing with were just really doing incredible things and we're just like all-star players, and it was encouraging or it was like it encouraged me to stop kind of playing in my safe zone, which is very fun, and I'm always going to have a good time doing the things that like I know well and feel super comfortable in. But everyone else was just doing so great and doing big swings and doing cool things, and I feel like it made me really want to try to go outside that comfort zone and do bigger, weirder things I don't normally do. And sometimes they hit and sometimes they didn't, but it was fun to try them.
I feel like I don't know if there's a specific moment in an early season, but I feel like one of my problems anytime I run a game is that I play it minute to minute. And often like it takes a long time for like the game to get started, kind of like there's a lot. Usually we start like too far before the action. And we all of a sudden realize like we're on episode 2 and like the inciting incident is just now happening, when it's kind of like we should just hit it right away. And that was kind of the impetus of the first episode of Orbital Blues, hitting immediately on you're chasing Richard Dick Whiskey. We're starting in the middle of a chase scene because I
Yeah.
was like, we've only got a couple episodes to land this plane. We got to start the engine from the start. And I think that ended up being a really successful opening scene. I think that was my favorite opening to a season that I've done.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that similar, though not a season I played in, I think that I learned a lot from like producing Die alongside you, Brian, and sort of being there through the GMing process for that. I feel like the Die season, I learned something from every player in that season, being in those sessions and getting to sort of observe from a 1,000 feet view. Like it I don't know. I've been a podcast producer for a while, and I feel like that was a big like crash course in like taking my producer brain and applying it to actual play. And I feel like since Die, I've had a really solid sense of like what I know is gonna be good for our seasons and our episodes, and like whether I'm at the table or not, just like thinking through like what do we want to hit, how do we want it to sound, how can we help the players do well, how can we help the GM do well. And yeah, Die was a huge learn.
I do think that this wasn't 2023, but Elliot, your game of 10 Candles.
10 Candles, yeah.
10 Candles, I feel like, and the talkback of that was in 2023, so we'll count it for 2023. I feel like that actual play was when the show like evolved, when we were kind of like, oh, this could be like way bigger than what it was. And I think it was fun before that. We had done Wanderhome, we'd done Honey Heist, and we put a lot into it. And then I feel like the way everyone here brought it for 10 Candles, it was like, oh, we can like go in.
Yeah.
And then we did Die. And Die, I think, was the one where it was like, okay, we're gonna take that like that concentrated energy we did in a one shot for 10 Candles, and we're gonna put it into 6 episodes.
Yeah.
And I think like we landed the plane, we parked the bus with Die, and then just did it. I honestly, I think twice as hard for Orbital Blues. Like everyone knew what they were doing after Die. Everyone was like comfortable with each other. And then we do Orbital Blues, and everyone just knew exactly what pitches to throw everybody.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great call.
Yeah, that felt so seamless playing Orbital Blues with everyone. I was like, yeah, we're good. We can just go silly off the gun.
I think that ended up being between that and Die, but I'd probably say Orbital Blues. It ended up being the best fit for our play style and our group, and also just for the style of this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my favorite game of the year, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, although Uzebas, I
was gonna say, for me,
I forget about Uzebas.
Between, I was gonna say, I think actually ultimately Uzebas was my favorite, but Orbital Blues and Die are really close behind, like tied. The thing with Orbital Blues, and we kept saying this, was that we all made campaign characters that I wanted to play for another 20 episodes.
Yeah.
But Die was just so cool. Yeah.
Die was so
It's hard
fun.
to pick, but I think ultimately
really
Uzeba was my favorite of the year.
Yeah. I love Die so much. And if we're counting 10 Candles for 2023, I fucking love that game. I would have sex with
that
that
was
game.
a really good episode.
Good game.
It was another like good moment this year was the full circle of coming back to 10 Candles for Patreon.
Yeah.
Given how much we all had like grown as a group and individually as performers and everything. Yeah, I thought that was really fun.
It was also to do that again, because we hadn't played a full game all in person. I guess we'd done a little bit all in person, but like the first time we did 10 Candles, we did it in person. And like playing 10 Candles in person is a very like, you remember that experience. You're playing in the dark. You've just got 10 candles, very ritualistic. Like you're going to remember your game of 10 Candles. And that one was like so memorable and haunting. And like, we got to the end of it. We knew we nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then doing it again. Yeah, it really did have that full circle, like cap to it, because before we weren't really Many-Sided Media yet. It was My First Dungeon. It was the thing we were doing. You know, we were putting out seasons whenever we could. And then by the time we got back around to playing it for Patreon, it's like, no, we're putting out episodes just about every week. We've got a Patreon with 39 members now, 39. I think. And we're putting out a new 39? Game for them every week.
39?
We're putting out a new game for them every month.
Also, that Patreon game, like we reused tea candles, and that was so stressful. I was so upset. We were all kind of mad at Elliot for putting out the good candles.
There's
first.
Several moments in that recording where you guys yell at me for the candle I decided to put out.
Oh yeah, but by the end, we were like calling out the can. We were like, nope, not that fucking can. If you touch that fucking candle,
Ultimately, it was Brian's fault because he put out the candles in the first. He placed them onto the table.
True. Yeah.
Always play
with
new tea candles.
Whatever, you know.
I think you got to shuffle up some candles. You got to get 30 candles of varying wick lengths and then just grab from a
That's
bag.
funny.
Just buy
You got 10
secondhand
of them.
candles.
Oh, right. Yeah, not for nothing. I barely knew Abby and Chinook when we recorded the first 10 candles.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Like
Yeah.
Brian and you and I had become friends at that point, but
Yeah.
like it was still, we had played once before, but I hadn't really hung out with y'all much outside of games. And
Yeah. I think I called you the wrong name after that recording, Elliot.
You did.
I was just like,
That's right.
Eli,
I
that was
forgot
great.
that.
Yeah.
And you were like, who the fuck is Eli, dude? And I was like, oh boy, good thing I'm never going to see you again.
I forgot
and now
you
you're stuck
called
with me.
Eli.
Because I think before then, the only game we played together was Wander Home, which is
Something's
like
wrong with the chickens also.
Something's wrong with the chickens.
Oh, we did-
But
Yeah,
I was
I
like
think
very
Wandered Home
much
was
like
after.
a guest. I was more in a guest position
true,
with something
yeah.
is wrong with the chickens. I
Mhm.
felt very out of my element and honored to be on this podcast. Like,
and that was before it was what it is now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the evolution of the show over the past year. Like to think back and think like the first season we did this year was my game Schrodinger's Cats,
yeah,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
ending with Orbital Blues and Hometown Holiday. It's like we really did a lot this year.
yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just looking back at Discord questions, another one that I think is a good question to ask looking into 2024
Mm.
comes from Jelly Muppet, Zach Cox
Nice.
over at Soul Muppet. What is one game you really love to play on the podcast but haven't gotten a chance to yet?
Oh,
There's so
I know
many.
we all have our lists.
Mm.
So no spoilers for what we may or may not be planning on playing.
No, none of these saying
None of
these
these
doesn't
are
confirm
confirmed,
or
yeah.
deny that we will play them.
Neither
But I'm
confirm
Right.
or deny.
Triangle Agency,
Triangle Agency,
one for
sure.
me.
That's a good
Deathmatch
one.
Island.
Deathmatch Island.
Kids on bikes.
Kids on Bikes.
Kids on Bikes.
I did finally pick up Morkborg, and now I'm like,
Mm.
I get it. I get
Mm.
why people like Morkborg.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Worldwide Wrestling.
Worldwide Wrestling,
Wild Sea.
Wild Sea,
Wild Sea.
Heart
Yum.
or Spire, Heart and or Spire.
Yeah.
I do really want to do Girl by Moonlight.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Girl by
Yes,
Moonlight.
Yes.
Girl by Moonlight. I want to, really push more towards the magical girl transformation than we did in Die.
Yeah. Starcrossed. We've talked
Oh,
about.
I want to do StarCraft so bad.
So bad.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
bad.
dude.
Yeah.
We'll get so horny on
Oh,
Maine.
And we're already horny on Maine.
We're already horny on Maine. I'm so sorry.
But
we make
so
everything horny.
on Maine. Oh, there is a thing. There is a thing that we. I don't know if I want to spoil this, but this is the thing we've wanted to do for Patreon, and this is the thing that came out of our Discord during our Die season.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, we've been meaning to do this for like a year,
So this
and it
is-
just keeps not happening.
This will happen in 2024 because we want it to happen. So I'm calling my shot
We're
now.
saying it now. We have to do it.
During our Die season in our Discord, someone posted. I think they just posted the phrase. What was it? What was the initial post?
Dogbinder.
Dogbinder. So instead of one of the classes in Die as the Godbinder, Elliot, I think apropos of nothing, just said Dogbinder.
I said Dogbinder. Is this anything?
Shit.
Was
You remember.
Dogbinder is this anything? And immediately, like 6 people came around and came up with what the Ductator. What are the other the drool for the fool
the drool or the foal?
or the foal?
What was the Neo? Was it Neopet?
The Neopet.
The
The
Neopet.
Neopet.
Yeah.
The Meowshin Knight.
The Meowshin.
The Meowshin Knight.
And what are we missing? Is that L? Oh, and the master is the owner.
The owner.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a pets themed spin
Diology.
on Die. We are.
A pets themed Die one shot is 100% gonna happen because we have to reward the creativity of the Discord.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we got a lot of games we want to play in 2024. I don't know how many of them we're gonna be able to do, but we're certainly gonna try.
What other kind of stuff do we have planned for 2024, Brian?
So 2024, we do have some changes coming to the podcast just to make it like bigger, better, but also more sustainable for us, because putting out 80 episodes between this and Talk of the Table and Patreon is tough. So we're going to be moving from a weekly schedule to a bi-weekly release schedule. Don't boo, don't worry. On
Boo.
off weeks. No, I said don't boo and
Boo.
don't worry.
I'm worried.
because you're going to be getting weekly stuff from Many-Sided Media regardless.
I'm slightly less worried.
You're going to get bi-weekly My First Dungeon. On opposite weeks, you're going to get Talk of the Table. And also on those opposite weeks, you'll get talkbacks from the My First Dungeon episodes. There's also going to be an extra actual play every month somewhere in there. If not every week, just about every week, you're still getting something from Many-Sided Media. It's just not always going to be an hour and a half fully sound designed episode because they take a little too long to sound design, and we don't yet make enough money from this venture.
Hey, look, if those Patreon numbers get up, we can go back to weekly.
Listen,
Let me tell you.
if we get 1,000 patrons, absolutely, we could do weekly. We'll even do another show. I guarantee. I'm pitching other shows to Elliot, Chinook, and Abby all the time, and they all keep telling me, Brian, you're gonna kill yourself. And I said, yeah, but I'll have 2 shows.
So we keep having to pull you back and be like, you don't. That's a great idea. Brilliant. The people are gonna love it. When are you producing that? You have to sleep.
But now that we're doing bi-weekly, that means
No,
I'm doing half as much work, and so I can do twice as many shows.
Yeah, you know what? That's true, Brian. That is true.
Anyway,
That's true.
2024 also, I think, might bring some longer style campaigns. Things like Die and Orbital Blues that we've come to know and love.
The things that we've, as a show, have become to love the most is when we linger in a game for longer. When we do 6 episodes of Die, 6 episodes of Orbital Blues, 8 episodes of Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast. By staying in a system for a little bit longer, we just like have more fun. We get to really know it, and we get to tell better and more interesting stories, and just like get deep in with characters. So expect a lot more seasons to be structured more like Die or Orbital Blues or Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast, where you're getting 6, 8, probably between 6 and 8 episode campaigns, maybe stretching into like 10 or 12 sometime in the future. But definitely most of our seasons are going to look longer than just like 1 shots or 2 shots. But you're still going to get some shorter seasons in there as we prep for our longer ones. The other thing we're going to be adding to the podcast, which I hope you don't take away from us, is we will be adding some mid-roll ads to the podcast. We're reaching out to gaming companies and talking with a number of gaming companies that we think you guys will actually like and benefit from. And if they want to advertise with us, we are happy to do so. So we're going to try our best not to have any random ass ads on our show for you, and just stuff that we think you're going to like.
Yeah. And these will be us. They won't be random. It'll be us talking about stuff that we think you'll like. So
Yeah, our silly little voices.
Yar.
Because on this show, we really are, every game that we're playing, even when we're having something sponsored like Orbital Blues, we're reaching out to people and being like, hey, we love this game. We want to make something with you. What do you say? And that's the way we want to keep doing it, even with any kind of ads we want to put on the show. We want to make sure that we're starting from a place of love and then throwing it into the podcast.
And that's why we're happy to announce our next sponsor, Lockheed Martin. At Lockheed Martin,
We're really passionate about it. Were there any other Discord questions?
Yes, there was a lot of information about what we're planning for 2024. We're going to keep doing the newsletter. We're going to keep making Patreon games. We're going to keep doing all this stuff and hopefully making just as many cool games as we have this year, if not more. But let's go back to our Discord Q&A.
Nice. Good transition.
Abby
Good
set
transition.
me up great with the transition. Just being like, hey, were there any more questions? And I
I
decided
would
to do a
love to
recap.
see Brian as a DJ.
I know, right?
coming up next I hope you like that last song. This next song is from the 90s.
We got a question, 2 questions from Old Man Doc 1305. One for me and
Nice.
one for everybody.
Perfect.
The question for me is, are there any story beats or plot directions you planned for certain campaigns, but had to leave on the cutting room floor? And boy, howdy, there are a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
Most notably in Orbital Blues, where everything I planned, all the climactic beats was on Reno 12, and y'all never wanted to go to Reno 12.
Fuck no.
Sounded like
Yeah,
a bad
go
place.
fuck yourself, dude.
We
Yeah,
were
go
like,
for it.
absolutely not. You just
I
told
made
us
it.
all
That's-
of our mortal enemies are there. Why would we go there?
Yeah. That's your fault, Brian.
Absolutely egg on my face.
Mm.
Incredibly funny.
There was some die stuff, too.
There was a lot of die, because I remember Elliot.
You planned a lot of die stuff.
Mhm.
that
I
we
planned a
didn't
lot
get
of
to.
die stuff, because I basically planned out like beats for every character to have like some kind of echo of their past kind of come in. And I want to say, Abby, your character didn't get as many
Mhm.
as I'd hoped. And I think there were some more like finale beats with the Master that I'd hoped to do, and we were just running out of time. We'd planned for 6 episodes, and we'd scheduled all of the performers for 6 episodes, and we were at time. But it was wildly helpful, and I think I don't want to take too much credit for any of the GMing for the Die season, because Elliot, I think you came up with like half of the best moves from that season.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't want to take all the credit for that. And it was a huge help.
I'll take that
at episode 5. Yeah, exactly. It was a huge help at episode 5 when I was like, we've got 20 beats we've got to hit, and we were just talking. You're like, okay, well, you can only hit 5, so pick 5. And I think we landed that plane really well.
And then what was the second question?
The second question was for everybody. What specific sorts of characters do you want to play in 2024?
More old ladies.
Yeah, I
Always.
think Abby's not playing enough old ladies.
Not enough old ladies.
Yeah. Have you even played an old lady this past month?
Not in too long. It's been too long.
What kind of characters?
I want to keep having fun exploring things that are outside my comfort zone of characters that are perhaps a little more dramatic or sad or deep.
Fucking deep.
I feel like I did that in 10 Candles, but kind of shied away from it a little bit in some other seasons, and enjoyed it and would like to do a little bit more of it, because I feel like those are a lot of the performances that I admire most from other people.
I don't know. Babs broke my heart.
Yeah, Babs was tragic.
Babs hurt. I feel like of any of the characters, Babs hurt the most.
Oh, I was thinking though of our second 10 Candles.
Oh, your second 10. Honestly, both of your 10 Candles characters really hurt.
Both your 10
Yeah.
Candles characters hurt.
They were deeply sad.
The second one was a
people.
twisted kind of hurt, but
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a game where somehow it was maybe because you play in the dark and you can't look at people too closely, where it was easier to do it.
Yeah.
You just play really good characters who like don't deserve to die.
Oh,
I feel like
Damn.
I like playing characters who absolutely deserve to die and like get their comeuppance or
And-
something.
Yeah.
You always play characters who, for all intents and purposes, should survive.
they're too
and
good for
don't get
the
to.
world.
Oh, I know what kind of character I want to play. I have two thoughts on this. A part of me wants to play like an absolute dickhead.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I struggle with that sort of thing. Or you guys are like, no, this character you played was a total dick, and in which case, fuck me.
I was gonna say you're a total.
Yeah, you're a total dick, dude. You're just playing yourself.
I feel like it would be really fun to play like basically a like low key villain.
Not like in a way where it's like not fun at the table, but I feel like
Right.
I don't gravitate towards like truly shitty people. I feel like I always want them to have some real redeemable nice qualities. And then I think the other thing is just like less masculine characters, because I feel like that's a thing maybe I fall into when I don't know what else to build, is like make them a little mask.
Totally. Yeah, I think I've tend to play pretty like silly, useless characters with a maybe tragic story that inevitably comes out. But I think I want to like I love having that like tragedy or like whatever, like that sadness to a character or something that they're hiding. But I think I want to apply it to like maybe not a useless character. Someone that is maybe more confident and sure of themselves in ways. But I think I've really took this past year to explore like gender through TTRPGs, and now I want to play more femme characters, and also just like constantly introducing like diversity into my characters in ways that make me feel good.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I just want to play more characters.
Oh, poor Brian.
Forever the GM.
I do think though, at playing as a GM, I'm very good at like being reactive to things, but I think like it's not as easy for me to make like big swings like Chinook, and it's not as easy for me to come in with like really clearly developed like North Stars for our characters in the way that Elliot does. I just kind of come in as like, I've got a backstory and I've got like a blank slate and I'm ready to react, but I'm not like making the forward motions. I'm like waiting for someone else to move and then like, great, I'll move alongside you. But I'm not the one running, I'm not charging forward.
That's so real. Like playing with you as a like playing a character, you truly just like kind of wait to react to things in ways that I'm like, you're
very
not gonna do
GM like.
It's very GM like.
I really try not like, I want to be a supportive character, but I do want to like, be a player and like kind of be the active participant and allow other people to like play around. Because also like you don't want everyone supporting everyone. You want everyone like pushing forward their time in the spotlight so that you can take a turn supporting. Like everyone's got to take their turn in the spotlight. And I'm just not good at it because I haven't done it very much. I end up like focusing on spotlighting characters as a GM. So I don't have that much practice of just being the spotlit character.
That's interesting.
I'm trying to think of a counter example, but I think you might be on to something.
but you might actually be bad at this. Yeah, you might. Yeah, you're right.
Not bad.
No,
Not bad.
No,
I'm just kidding.
It's like your characters have such patience to them in ways that like I am not accustomed to. It's like, okay, you put me in this room, I'm going to break everything in this room. Whereas like if I put you in a room as a GM, you're going to like sit down and be like, well, what's in the room? Let me look around. Yeah. I'm going to take a seat and just hang out for a bit. And it's like, Brian, fucking make a move. But you have to but then you realize, if I just like make something happen in the room, then Brian will do something. But he's not just going to cause something to happen in this room. He's going to wait for something to actively make him make a move.
Yeah.
Also, like, of course, in Hometown Holiday, you played the friend, which was like the half GM.
Yeah, it was GM light.
Yeah.
GM light.
We talked about that actually, I think off a recording where I was like, oh, the friend is basically the GM's assistant.
Yeah, it's co-GM.
Yeah, co-GM.
Yeah, the AD.
The AD.
We gotta figure that out.
So I think as we start to kind of wrap this up, I want to talk about just goals for the show and like personal goals for us with Many-Sided Media, with My First Dungeon, Talk at the Table, the 20-sided newsletter. We got a lot of stuff we're doing, okay?
Got a lot of plans.
I think we could fit a few more in there.
We could fit a few more. Oh, you saying you want to do another show?
I'd like to do another show.
Elliot, you shut
I also would like to do another show.
Yes!
Yeah.
For 2024, I think just some like things that I know I want to do on the show. Personally, I want to up the ante on like sound design, storytelling, like overall production of the show.
Yeah, you're really taking a light walk through the sound design world. I think you really got to push it up.
Yeah.
Honestly, like my thing is like so many of these games are so fucking good, and for Orbital Blues, for Die, for all these games, I want to make the show that is like the marquee blockbuster show for each of these games, to show like, oh, you want to play Yuzeba's Bed and Breakfast, you want to know what that sounds like, here is exactly how good that can sound, here's exactly how good that game can feel to play. And the only way to do that is to like up our game on every level, like make the production better, have everyone come in and like really give the best performances, knowing that whatever they do is going to be massively supported on the back end.
Yeah.
Totally.
Right.
And then I think honestly, like the more we can grow this show, the more we're able to pay everybody. Luckily, we've been able to pay all of our performers pretty good, honestly, for all of the games this year. I want to play with more cool new people. I want to play more cool games. And honestly, this is very selfish. I wouldn't mind winning a few more awards because that one felt pretty good.
Heck yeah.
Turns out validation feels good.
Feels
Feels
great.
nice.
So I'm calling my shot. 2024, My First Dungeon, nominated for an Emmy.
Woo!
Boom.
That's
boom,
my
boom,
shot.
boom,
Damn
boom.
right. Damn right.
Boom.
Why stop there? Winning an Emmy?
Yeah, winning an Emmy. Did I say nominated? Excuse me.
You said
Calling my shot
nominated.
2024, winning an Emmy for Best Podcast.
Like
Boom,
you
boom,
gotta
boom.
call the shots big.
I'm excited in 2024 to be fully taking over the newsletter.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Woo!
Editor-in-chief
Editor
at your
chief,
service.
baby.
Editor-in-Chief Abby Hepworth.
So let me know what kind of stuff you guys like, what you want to read, what you want more of.
We each got our own little corners of it. Chinook, you've got your character chaos corner. I've got my GM tips. Elliot's got the page that got me.
When we all have random other things.
And we all have random other stuff that we like to talk about this space. We're going to keep doing that every other week.
Yum, yum, yum.
Yum.
Yum, yum, yum.
Anyone else have any goals for this company, this podcast, or just for yourself in 2024?
I want to try my hand at GMing a little bit more.
Nice.
Nice.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say a totally unrelated to games thing.
Yeah.
Like, I want to try my hand at crochet.
I really want
Your-
to try my hand at knitting in 2024. Just like separate of this.
Well, you fucking killed it on Hometown Holiday, so you should.
That was fun.
Merci. Thank you.
That was a really fun game. Even people that don't play TTRPGs have messaged me after listening to that season and been like, this is so good. And I'm like, yeah, it is.
That's really sweet.
But yeah, I think Brian, you caught all the company goals pretty well. I think I want to play more games. I would like to. I really think I really enjoy when we bring on people who haven't played TTRPGs to perform on the podcast,
Yeah.
and love playing games with them. Yeah, I think I want to try like a longer season would be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Trying more like just different structures to the way we play games, and I think I even want to maybe get behind more sound design stuff. I'm pretty bad at it now, figuring it out, but it is satisfying.
You want to
at
walk the
times,
devil's path with me?
and then deeply frustrating at other times. But I think in terms of sustainability, there needs to be more than just Brian sound designing.
I'm with that. I would like to train up on sound design in 2024.
Don't see. No, I don't. Now
Now-
you doing that makes me want to do it less.
To say I'm gonna fully let you guys handle that because
No.
I've tried it and it is not something I enjoy. And so for the benefit of everyone's mental health, I'm gonna pass on that responsibility.
I mean, here's hope. We got a lot of plans for not only this show, but also like we got plans for other shows we want to make.
Yeah.
And I feel like every time we finish a long season, we just look at each other and go, "We could make that a whole show. We could just make a whole show of Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast. We could just make a whole show of Orbital Blues." And you know what? Maybe we will.
The every chapter of Yazeba's show.
Honestly, that we're gonna play more Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast in 2024.
That's
that's
damn
100% gonna
fact.
happen.
I want that.
Yeah.
On Patreon and on the main feed, you're gonna get more Yazeba's
Sign
Bed and
up.
Breakfast. September
For the
15th,
Patreon,
you're
so we
getting
can do
some-
more cool stuff.
Yeah. My you guys have hit all the company goals. Also just like more merch, and I want to continue to level up our art in the new year. I would like to level up some of our album art. I have some big ideas for things that I don't necessarily know how to do yet, but I want to try.
Perfect.
And then the personal goal, I've been saying this in private and I'm saying it in public. 2 big games, 3 small. We're making 2 big
Yarr.
games, 3 small games in 2024. That's
I
the
believe in you.
that's the release
The
plan.
big 5.
I've seen the ideas for all these, and they're all extremely good. So if you liked Project Echo, you're gonna like everything else coming out of Elliot Davis, Mr. Moore, Blueberries.
Yeah.
Only hits, no misses.
And maybe Brian's involved with at least one of those.
Hey, who's to say?
Who's to say?
And
Not
I'm
me.
here. Supporting.
Well,
supporting.
Schnook, I didn't want to blow up your spot, but I feel like one of your goals in 2024 is also to maybe dip a toe into the game design world.
Yeah. Dip a
Maybe-
toe, but that's there's a bunch of stuff happening in 20. I don't want to make any promises I can't keep, but that is a plan. That is a thing I wrote down and told Elliot about.
It's
When me and
all
Elliot get our
light.
nails done together, we talk about this stuff. And
That's true.
We're gonna be good in January and get well.
Oh wait, are we? Yeah, we're gonna be good, so we can go again in January. That's
Yeah.
great.
Gotta be good. If you're half good, you only get one hand done.
Yeah.
Well,
only
that's
one
true.
hand.
What are any final Discord questions we want to answer before we wrap this thing up?
There are a bunch more Discord questions. I don't think we can get to all of them.
Maybe you rapid fire. We all just answer one of them. Like not.
Oh,
everyone
we can
answers
do a
the
quick
Discord
rapid
questions.
fire.
Oh,
Let's,
that's
you know what? Let's
good.
go through all these. Okay, so from Alex V, Elliot, what has been your favorite game to play this year outside of Many-Sided Media?
Brian joined me for a little home campaign with some friends of Kids on Bikes that I ran towards the beginning of this year. That was a delight.
Hell yeah, with the best named NPC of all time,
Cindy Muggins, Kid Secretary.
Cindy Muggins, Kid Secretary.
You've told the story on my.
I've told this story so many times. Chinook from Velocity, what's your favorite breakfast burrito and or sandwich?
Ooh, my favorite breakfast burrito.
And/or sandwich.
And/or sandwich. I love doing like a like New York bagel with cream cheese, avocado, and like vegan bacon, but you could use regular bacon. Yummy, yummy in my tummy.
Abby from Dat Matt, what was your first dungeon?
My first dungeon was playing a homebrew, our home Dungeons and Dragons game, which we played one session in person, and then the pandemic hit. And then we played religiously every week for, I think, 50 weeks in a row
50
after
weeks
that.
in a row.
I'm trying to think what the actual first battle was. But yeah, it was right before the pandemic hit, was me playing Dungeons and Dragons. And that was my first dungeon.
That was your character, Merrick the Cleric.
Merrick the Cleric.
Merrick the Cleric.
From Nabsy, what is your I'll give this one to myself. What is your go-to game if you've got super limited prep time? That would be Honey Heist, or any Honey Heist variation, including Something's Wrong with the Chickens.
Yeah.
Okay.
From our very own Elliot Davis.
Yum,
And the last question I think for all of us, we'll do real quick, is also from Nabsy. If you could tell your past self that is just about to make your first My First Dungeon episode one thing that you know now, what would it be?
Calm down. It's not that deep. This game is so easy to run. It's going to get way harder from here, you big dumbass.
Yeah, I feel like mine would be like similarly, like take a deep breath and like focus on having fun, because that first time I was so nervous. Just like do the fun thing.
Or said another way, if you're having fun, you're already doing it right.
I was about to say I want to do the cheesy thing and say the advice I would give. If you're having fun, you're
Oh, I
already
stole
doing
it.
I think I would just wait for the siren. I would tell myself to wait for the siren.
Wait for the siren. That's a key.
I think that I would tell myself is you have something really good here. So keep going and have fun.
And I would tell myself, keep playing games with Abby, Chinook, and Elliot, and then bring on more people, because it's going to get really fun really fast.
Oh wait, can I tell you a joke thing I would have told myself?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Why the fuck are you recording on a Blue Yeti?
I almost said that too. For the love of God, get a Samson Q2U. It's cheaper and better.
It's cheaper and better.
Samson Q2U, that's our real last thing.
Yeah.
That is all for this episode of My First Dungeon, this year of many-sided media,
Crazy.
and for all of 2023. From everyone here at Many-Sided Media, from everyone here at My First Dungeon, wishing you all the best in 2024. We'll see you then. And just remember, if you're having fun, you're already doing it right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Bye. Happy New Year.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Subscribe to the podcast.
First year of the rest of our lives.
Woo.
I love you all.
Forever.
Love you guys.
If you're hearing this, that means you have listened to every last second of this episode, and that probably makes you a fan of this show. Well, if you're a fan and you like what we're doing and want to help others find it as well, then consider leaving us a 5-star review over on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts. Getting more ratings really does help more people find the show, and reading your nice words about the things that we put out into the world makes us feel all warm and good inside, and we want more of those good feels. So head on over to your podcast player of choice and leave us a 5-star review. Thanks.